Well, I'd never really recorded my songs with a professional outfit before. I'd had a couple of solo albums which were kind of homegrown, which I recorded in my house in New York. And I'd had a couple of studio musicians, but never a whole bunch of songs recorded by professional musicians from the get-go before. So that was a challenge, and also it was a very small studio. We recorded in the Empty Pockets studio in Chicago, and it was a very small room. Yes, yes and no, because being a drummer you have to be very diplomatic, and I've been a drummer with Bad Company for 43 years, so the role of my role was kind of a diplomatic one. So when it came to be recording my songs or my music, I was, I think, a bit more diplomatic than maybe other musicians would have been in my position. And I quite readily handed over the musical reins to Josh Solomon, the leader of the band, even though they were a lot younger than me. They were all in their early 30s. But they had such a wealth of musical knowledge that I quite happily ceded power, to them to run with it. I can't really pick a favourite. They're all very much uppermost in my brain. But I think if I had to, it would be Maria. Well, I'm just going to go out there and play the songs. I know that sounds very trite, but I don't know any other way of doing it. I'm going on tour on March the 16th. We start in Illinois with the band, with the Empty Pockets. Well, I think Maria, which I wrote for my fiance, that started life as just a little 2/4 time signature finger-picking guitar. And when I'd finished it, I said to Josh, I'd love a string quartet on it. He said, I know a string quartet. And he did. And he got these 4 musicians from Chicago, and they played it, and they made it beautiful. They made it sound beautiful. And I think that one of the other songs would be Into the Light, which featured a gospel chorus on the end, and that really that made the whole song just flower. It was a beautiful rendition.
How did you come about to do that song with the ukulele?
Well, Lola is my youngest daughter, and she's had a ukulele for about 3 or 4 years. And she said, Dad, you've got to get one of these things. They're amazing. And I always have a guitar with me wherever I go. What I liked about the ukulele, it was so small and so portable, and it forced me to relearn chords, because they're not exactly the same chords as you have on a guitar. Anyway, I bought a ukulele, and the other good thing about them is they're quite cheap. This was only about $100. So I'm noodling around playing, going from one chord to another, and I just started singing, baby, when I think about you, I think about love. And it sounded nice on the ukulele. Of course, this was an iconic song from Bad Company's past. My girlfriend said, wow, that's great. I said, well, yeah, I know, but it's feel like making love. She said, well, you should do it on stage like that. I said, whoa, you're talking about, a very well-loved song. She said, well, how old is it? I said, well, it's about 43 years old. She said, so go and do a new version. So I did the version on the ukulele. We did it in a reggae, like a reggae style. The record company loved it. Then I had to get the green light from Paul Rodgers and Mick Ralphs, who wrote the original. And Mick was very complimentary. He said, yeah, it's great. Paul said, it's good, it's a toe tapper. Go ahead, put it on. So that's how it came about.